So every day, you guys wake up and you think, well, it can't get any worse, can it? Wrong. It can always get worse, and it is. So let me walk you through this one here. This is in the New Republic. Trump's FBI moves to criminally charge major climate groups. The Trump administration is targeting climate organizations that received a Biden-era grant. So this is even above and beyond what we talked about with the CHIPS Act. Remember, Biden passed the CHIPS Act, trying to bring back microchip manufacturing to the U.S., high-paying factory jobs. Trump killed that and froze the spending. So you know what that means? Because of Trump's actions, we lost 115,000 high-paying manufacturing jobs, all because he wanted to snub Biden, right? But this is even worse, because not only is he freezing the funding, he's trying to criminally charge these climate groups and these environmentalists. This is disturbing. All right, here we go. The FBI is moving to criminalize groups like Habitat for Humanity for receiving grants from the EPA under the Biden administration. Let me repeat that. The FBI is moving to criminalize groups like Habitat for Humanity. Yeah, you know, when I think of who's ruining this country, the first thing that pops to my mind is Habitat for Humanity. Do they have any idea how deranged they are? Citibank revealed in a court filing Wednesday that it was told to freeze the group's bank accounts at the FBI's request. The reason? The FBI alleges that the groups are involved in possible criminal violations, including conspiracy to defraud the United States. By the way, what's their argument for that? Well, they go, bro, these people are like fighting back against climate change and they believe in climate change, and climate change is like totally a Chinese hoax. So they're actually defrauding the U.S. by taking this U.S. tax money under false pretenses, bro. This is like the government's being run by fucking Gavin McInnes or Steven Crowder, right? Like, this is embarrassing. This is fucking humiliating. The FBI has told Citibank that recipients of EPA climate grants are being considered as potentially liable for fraud. That is, the Trump administration wants to criminalize work on climate science and impacts. Capitol Hunter's accounts wrote Wednesday on X, an incoming administration not only cancels federal grants, but declares recipients as criminals. All these grantees applied under government calls for environmental work were reviewed and accepted. Trump wants to jail them. So, like, that's the thing you guys need to understand, is that even if Trump just froze the funding like he did with the CHIPS Act, that is also illegal. Wildly illegal. Congress has the power of the purse, then the president signs a bill, then the funds are dispersed to the Treasury, and the Treasury sends out the payments. That's the way the system works, period. That's it. You can't have a subsequent president come in and say, I disagree with this law that was passed by the previous administration, I'm freezing the funding. You can't even do that. Never mind do that, and then charge the groups that are legally getting the money with fraud, even though there's zero fraud. This is what they do. Their big out is, bro, waste, fraud, and abuse. This is all waste, fraud, and abuse. No, it's not. It's just something you don't like. It's just something you don't agree with. The Appalachian Community Capital Corporation, the Coalition for Green Capital, and the DC Green Bank are just some of the nonprofits being targeted. Quote, this is not fraud, this is targeted harassment, Capitol Hunters continued. The idea of criminalizing community climate work wouldn't have originated at the FBI. It likely comes from EPA Director Lee Zeldin. I love how we have an EPA director who doesn't think we should have an EPA, who's on the side of big business and corporations and polluting, who today cut all EPA's environmental justice offices, which try to reduce pollution in poor and minority communities. We talked about this the other day. They dropped the Cancer Alley lawsuit. There's a place, I believe it's in Louisiana. There's a place in Louisiana where they make, I believe it's bulletproof vests. And the process of making the bulletproof vest releases some highly carcinogenic toxic chemical into the air. And of course, it's all around everybody, and the kids smell it at school, and there's all these fucking problems. It's called Cancer Alley because the rates of cancer skyrocket in this region because of this factory and the pollution that it does. Well, the Biden administration was suing to clean up Cancer Alley so children stop getting cancer. And what does Trump do? He drops the case. Says, I side with the cancer-causing chemicals and the big company that's making the bulletproof vests. But remember, at the State of the Union, Trump pretended to give a shit about a kid with cancer. Therefore, aren't liberals evil for not clapping? Even though Trump just dropped the Cancer Alley lawsuit, he deregulated the PFAS, which are forever chemicals which cause cancer, and they cut pediatric cancer research. So his policies are pro-kids getting cancer, but he used a kid as a prop who had cancer. Therefore, Trump is anti-cancer and Democrats are for cancer. I mean, I'm losing it over here. I'm losing it with how upside down and backwards every fucking thing is. We got to call this out for what it is. Zeldin's order eliminates 10 EPA regional offices as well as the one in Washington, D.C. Well, that's great. That's great. So now Habitat for Humanity is accused of fraud and being criminally charged And Trump is illegally freezing all the funds that were supposed to go towards things in like the IRA, for example. I mean, what else is there to say about this? Wildly illegal, wildly unconstitutional, incredibly depraved and deranged. And, you know, he's laying the precedent to make it a dangerous thing, even going into the decades in the future. People are going to be hesitant to set up some sort of environmentalist organization, knowing, hey, any Republican president can come in there and just fucking sue us for fraud based on dick. Right? The long-term consequences of what this man is doing are immeasurable. Right? I mean, forget the U.S. is standing in the world. That's done, bro. That is... Why would anybody trust any agreement ever made with the U.S. at this point when these assholes rip it up in an instance, or they have an agreement and just disregard it? I mean, they're trying to invade our fucking neighbors, right? Why would anybody trust any word we say? We have zero standing. And now not only is it internationally, it's also domestically. But that's the goal. They want to scare you into compliance, scare you into not giving a shit about pollution, not giving a shit about climate change, not giving a shit about cancer-causing chemicals, because they want the corporations to fully and completely win. That's what's at the core of this. Serve the robber barons, serve the multinational corporations, serve the polluters, fuck the environmentalists. It's the 1% versus the 99%, as everything ultimately comes to. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.